Hello everyone, welcome to Ajiro Tech. In this video, we're going to be looking at the Cambridge International ES and E level Information Technology with the course code 9626. Paper 2 practical, the variant is O2, and we're looking at the specimen paper 2025. So we're going to be looking at step 1 of this paper. Okay, so we have this. You must use the most efficient method to solve all tasks. Okay, all work that must be produced in professional standard and suit the business context for this, right? You work for Donald's Dance School and will design a physical entity relationship diagram, ERD, based on the first one, a conceptual entity relationship diagram, the second one, an extract of the current class list. Students are adults, that is 18 years and above and over, right? Juniors 11 years to 17 years, or starters under 11 years. Teachers can teach more than one class. Classes can be taken in modern, tap, ballet, street, contemporary. There are 30 different classes and 240 different students. Each student is given a unique code with 2 letters and 3 digits. Each class occurs at the same time each week. Students can attend any class suitable for their age group. Okay, step 1. Examine this conceptual entity relationship diagram and extract from the class list. So this is the relationship that's been given. This is the table, and we have to create a physical entity relationship diagram for this data. A little bit of a lecture before we proceed. Chapter 10, Database and File Concept. Let's look at what this entity relationship diagram is all about so that we can have a fair grip on what we are talking about. Graphical representations, right? That kind of depicts relationship among, in this case, the teachers and student. We can also see it as a type of flowchart that illustrates how entities, okay, relates to each other. Okay, okay, very important. Relates to each other within a system. Okay, so here I have something to show you of what I've said. So right here from the textbook, we have the entity relationship diagram. And of course, we have 3 types of diagram. We have the conceptual, we have the logical, we have the physical. Okay, so each of them shows a kind of design of the table structures and relationship between them. Okay, so when we talk about the entity relationship diagram, with all I've said, we are simply talking about the following. And I'm going to use a red marker to just illustrate my point. We're talking about the entities, which is about objects or items, more or less the table. We're talking about attributes, which is the fields, right, that are used in the table. We're talking about the relationships, and which is the links between what the tables. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So when we go down, we have lots of relationship, one to one. Okay, that simply means a single line, right, placed at the end of each relationship. Okay, so we use this for it. Okay, one to many, we're simply talking about one end of the relationship line at many end of the relationship. Okay, many to many simply means two, one to many. Okay, then here is where I want to come in. So we have the conceptual design. So, when we talk about, the conceptual entity relationship diagram, looking at this, is simply talking about two things. We're talking about the entity, which is a table, and then we're talking about the attributes. Okay, we're talking about the attributes as much as possible. Okay, so that is what we mean when we talk about the conceptual. Okay, so here we can see that it identified the entity from the start, where they decided an example. You see the attributes have been added to the diagram using the details given in the tags. So for conceptual entity relationship diagram, we're talking about entity, and then we're talking about attributes. For the logical entity relationship diagram, we're talking about three things. We're talking about the entity, which is a table. We're talking about the attributes, which is the field, and then we're talking about the data types. It's important. Okay? So all these things are very important to know when we're talking about conceptual, we're talking about logical, okay, as much as possible. But when we talk about the physical entity relationship diagram, here we are talking about the following. We're talking about entity, we're talking about attributes, we're talking about data types, and finally we're talking about the feed length for each of the attributes. So it is very important. So when we talk about the physical entity relationship diagram, we need to create a database, and it needs to include the entity, the attributes. The attributes are your fields, the entity are your tables, data types, okay, which is the type of data that should be on the field, and we're talking about the field lengths. And don't forget one final thing, we're talking about the key fields. The key fields. So we have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That should be in the word physical entity relationship diagram. I hope that makes sense. So here is more or less your one to many. Okay, one to many. All right. So it's very important that you understand this. For logical, we have entity, attributes, and data types. You can see the entity, the attributes, and the data types. Here, of course, there your relationship. For the conceptual, you're having the entity and the attributes and your relationship. Hope this is very understood. Okay, hope this is understood. Okay, so now let's go back to the question. So with this understanding, they're asking us to create a physical entity relationship diagram for this data. So we now know what it needs to be. It needs to have an entity, it needs to have an attribute, it needs to have a data type, it needs to have a feed length, it needs to have a key field, of course, the relationship. So this is what we need to do using this data that have been what provided. So now for us to do it, we're going to use Word. Okay, so I'm going to open it in Word. I'm just going to open a Word document. Word. I'm going to use it to create it. Okay, blank document and layout here. Just going to change the orientation to landscape. Prefer it to be landscape. Make the margin probably 1 centimeters across board. Okay, A4 is fine. Okay, so now we have this. So now, what are the things that we need when we are creating this? So very important, you see it here. Now, entities are drawn using what? Rectangular what? Box. Please take note. Entities are drawn using rectangular box with rounded corners. So you're not just drawing your entities using any kind of shape. You're drawing them using a rectangular box with rounded corners. And this is what it should be like. Hope that makes sense. Okay, so now that we have an understanding of this, now let's proceed. So I'll come here to my insert, my shape, and I'm going to look for the rectangle. This is the rounded, and I have it here. and I'm going to draw. Okay, here I have my shape view, no view, outline. Of course, I'll make it black, or you can click on it under the shape format, under the shape style. You can choose this. This is also fine. Okay, I think I can just make the weight to be 1. Okay, that's fine. Then the next thing we have to do, if you look at the textbook, it needs to have something like this to differentiate between your entity and your attribute. Okay, so I'm going to use a straight line, and I'm going to hold my shift, and I'm going to draw a straight line. Good. And I'm going to make it black. Shape outline, you can also do it here black. And what's the weight? Okay, that's fine. Can I bring it down a bit? Okay, I think I can bring it down a bit. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so now I have this. Okay, so the next thing for me to do is, I think now I can just group them. Let me click on the line. Okay, let's see. Let me just move this a bit so I can have an increased line. Okay, come here. Probably I can increase this a bit. I'll fix it. So just want to group it for now. Okay. Yes, let me move it here. Click here and then group it. Okay, I think we still have. Alright, so let's see. Move it here a bit. Okay, I think now we can have this. Fine, I'm okay with this. Alright, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to make a duplicate for it. But before we do that, we need to draw the relationship line. So here I'm going to go to shapes and I'm going to look for a triangle. Okay, and I'm going to draw my triangle thing like this. Here I can come here and choose this, and I'm going to move it like this. Okay, let me see the outline. Can I use one? Okay, it's fine. Get a straight line. So at the center of it here, okay, delete it. At the center of it here, and get line. At the center of it here, hold my shift and then draw to get a straight line. Okay, let me get black. I can move it down a bit. Okay, I think that's fine. Do we have, let's see. So once you get the first one, it's just for you to just duplicate it. So it's really not good. I think that's fine. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's see the shape outline, the weight. All right. Then the next thing, if you look at the textbook, you see that it has this right here, right? And if you look at the question as well, if you look at the question, you're also going to see this for the relationship, okay? So I'm going to get a straight line, hold my shift, draw a straight line. Select this, come to shape outline and make it black, whichever one you want to do. The weight is 1. And now I want to group it. Click on the first one, hold my shift, click on the second one, hold my shift, click on the third one, hold my shift. Under my shape format, come here and then group it. So now we have this. So now I can reduce this a bit. Yes. And then I can use my arrow keys to move it. Okay. Then I'll come here and then I will duplicate this. Okay. So move them here a bit. So I'm just going to move this here. Check my grid lines. Okay, move this to the top. I want them to be in the same. Okay, I think that's fine. Yes. Come here, do the same. Okay, let's see. I did the same. All right. Okay, let's see this. Okay, I think I'm just going to, I think it's fine. Let me see. I think it's fine. I think just move this here a bit. Okay, just move this here a bit. See. Okay, so I'll come here again. So this is 1 to many. Okay, and copy and paste this, duplicate this, move this here a bit. Okay, let me just move this here a bit. We might still need to adjust it. Okay. All right. So the next thing we want to do is for the teacher, the entity for teacher. So I'm going to use a text box. And I'm going to draw and type teacher. I'm going to bring it here. Going to adjust this here. Here as well. I'm going to make it centered. The fill is going to be no fill. The outline is going to be no outline. You can just make it 12. Okay. Just make it middle. All right. So now the next thing we're going to do is this right here. So what do? I'll probably draw another one for the attributes and then type teacher ID and then T name, that's the teacher name. I'm going to do this a bit so you all can see it. Okay, so I'll move this here a bit. Okay, just want to be sure that I have a teacher ID. Okay, then the next I want to do is fill, no fill, shape outline, no outline under the shape format. If you're wondering, let me undo it, Ctrl Z, and then I can adjust it here like this. All right. Okay, so now we talked about the fiscal. Let's scroll down. We talked about the fiscal entity relationship diagram. What are the things that are needed in the entity fiscal relationship diagram? So these are the things that are needed. Entity, we've done entity, attributes, data types. Okay. So now the teacher ID and teacher name. Going back to the question, right? So an ID, right? Are unique codes that are being generated. So usually ID are within data types for ID are within. They can be text. They can be what alphanumeric. Okay, so we're just going to go with alphanumeric as our data types. Okay, and if you look at it here, you would see that in your physical entity relationship diagram, we have them as what alphanumeric. Site codes, IDs, they are more or less alphanumeric. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to hit my tab, right, to create an indentation alphanumeric. I'm going to fix it. And then here, I'm just going to click here to move it a bit. So this is fine. And I have, that's my data type. And of course, for the feed length, it's 3, right? 3. And we can see here, most time it can be 3, it can be 5, but I'm just going to work with 3. Because looking at this question, right? What is assigned to them in terms of the class C1, C2, C3, C4, teacher ID that will be given to them should not exceed more than 3, right? Should not exceed more than 3. Okay, so I'm just going to adjust this a bit. Move this here. Okay, let's see. You can just adjust this a bit. Okay, so 3. And of course, IDs are good key fields. So it's going to be the primary key, that's PK. Going to adjust it a bit. Do on it. Okay, so Let's see, what can we do here? Okay, so that's fine. So for my teacher's name also can be alphanumeric, right? If you look at this as well from the textbook, you see that name are good alphanumeric or text. Okay, so I'm just going to go with alphanumeric. Alphanumeric. Now looking at the teacher's name, let's scroll down and let's look at the teacher's name. Donald, Kayla, Catherine. So all these are the teacher's name as much as possible. So so you can see their names here, right? For the teacher's name, these are the teacher's name: Donald, Kayla, and Catherine. All these are for the student. Now you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so teacher's name, we can have it as teachers can be more than one. So in the off chance they want to type in your full name, okay, so it's best safe to use something. If we're having nine, so let's say we have a catering that is nine as a full name, the last name could be also a nine, okay, so that would be 18. So we can have like 20 just to be safe. So we can have like 20, okay, and that is fine. Hope we're learning. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this, which has made my work so easy. I'll copy this, copy and then paste, and then take this here. Okay, take this here. Can I adjust this here a bit? Okay, so I will do the same thing. Copy this. So this is going to be for the class. Put it here, just it here as well. So I'm going to use this for the class. So it can be sent to the line. If you look at it in the question, you see that is what sent to the line. Okay. All right. So what do we have for? We have class ID. I want to be sure that that is what is there. Class ID. So IDs are alphanumeric. Again, we have them as three numbers in terms of the feed length, and of course the good primary key. Day. Control backspace. Day. So let me hit on enter. Enter day. So for day, what do we have? This is the day. Monday, 3rd June. Monday, 3rd June. Monday, 3rd June. So that's day with time as the data type. Day/time. And we don't assign feed length to date and time. Please take note, right? If you look at the textbook, you will see that when it comes to, I think, if you go through, you will see that when it comes to day with time, we don't assign feed length to it. Okay? So I think I can Control A, go to home, and then remove space after paragraph. Okay, so the next one is what? Time. So for time again, 1530. So is the data type is still day with time. And we don't assign feed length to it. The next one is what? Teacher ID. Teacher ID, alphanumeric. And we're just going to give 3 for it. So in this case, we have a teacher ID has the primary key. So if we're going to create a relationship between this and this, here is going to be what? Good. The foreign key. Okay? Because the foreign key is what creates the relationship. Hope for learning is what creates the relationship between the primary key, between this entity and this entity. Give me a minute. Let me see this. Move this a bit. Good. Okay. All right. The next one is what? Student ID. So it's going to be alphanumeric. Of course, when it comes to IDs, 3 is fine. And for the entity, we don't know yet. So I'm just going to leave it for now and I'll come back to it. In terms of what key field is it going to be in, right? Class type, class type. Okay, let's look at the class type. So the class type here is the group, right? So we have it as, look at it here, class type, tab, modern, ballot, and we have ballot again. Okay, wait, okay, look at the class type. Modern, tab, ballot, street, and contemporary. So if you count it, I think this is the highest word, characters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so I'm just going to go with 12, which is the highest because this is more or less going to be like a drop down or something. Okay, so I'm just going to go with alphanumeric. Now, the whole idea of alphanumeric is that it stores both characters, text, and numeric. Okay, so 12. Okay, scroll down a bit to see group. So this is a group here, Starlet, Junior, Adult, and then that's just the group they have. Okay, so I hit on enter group. Okay, wondering. All right, this is going to be alphanumeric. I'm hitting my tab to get this. Okay, and what do we have here? So Starlet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm just going to go with 8, right? Just in case 8. Okay, so I'm done with this. All right, so I'm just going to do the same thing here. Okay, hold my shift, select both of them, Ctrl C, and then Ctrl V. Okay, let me do it. Hold my shift, copy, come here, and then good. All right, so what do I do here? I can move this here a bit. Okay, so this is going to be for student. Okay, so in student, what do we have? We have student ID. Student ID, and of course it's going to be alphanumeric, and it's going to be a primary key. So if this is going to be a primary key, the student ID here is going to be what? A foreign key. Good. Foreign key. Okay. Then we have the forename. The forename is your first name. Take note of that. It's your first name, forename, and we're going to have alphanumeric. So let's count. So here is a student name. The first one is their first name, their forename. So I'm going to use, okay, I have this 1, 2, Alessandro, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think 10 is the highest here. Clementine, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10. So 10 is set. 10 it is. So I'm going to make it 10. Okay. The next one is last name. Okay, look at it. Okay, surname, not last name. Surname. It's important to type exactly what it is. Surname. Okay, so this is going to be alphanumeric. Alphanumeric, yes. Okay, alphanumeric. So we're gonna have the last name. So I'm just gonna pick at random. Um, what's the okay? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. I have 9. I have 8. Okay, have this. Check and see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm just gonna go with 10, just to be safe, right? I'm just gonna go with 10, and I can just delete all this and then bring this here. Okay, you just bring this here a bit. Okay, 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 just bring this here a bit. Okay, so I have this. Okay, so I have that. So I have for the teacher, the entity, teacher, entity class, entity student. I have the attributes, data types, um, the key fields, the relationship. So this makes up a physical entity relationship diagram. So the next thing I want to do is I want to be sure that everything here is correct with the entity and the attributes: class ID, day, time, teacher's ID, student ID, class type, group, teacher's ID. Okay, I think I'll just bring this close. Teacher ID, teacher's name here, student ID, forename, surname. There's a missing one. It's important to check. So I have DOB. So date of birth is date with time. Okay, is date with time, and of course we don't assign a feed length to it. So everything is in order. It's important to check. Okay, so now I'm going to scroll down to what was stated. Save your physical entity relationship in portable document format. With this, so I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to copy it and I'm going to save it first. File, save as. I'm going to browse for it. 2025 folder. Okay, I'm going to paste it here. Replace it with this. My center number, and then my candidate number is going to be 2024. Okay, so underscore center number and then candidate number. Okay, so now I get to save it in PDF. But before I do that, I can group it again. So it's easy for me. Let me group it. Okay, I think that would save me stress. So I'm holding my shift and I'm selecting everything, right? I'm holding my shift and I'm selecting everything. And then I will go to shape format and then group it. So now I can now move it and adjust it the way it is. How cool is that? Okay. So now I get to save it, save. file, save as, change it to PDF, and then I get to save it, right? And then I can close it. So if I go back to look for it, okay, where is it? So I have it right here. Okay, so student, the way the student is, it's not in alignment. So let me just open it again. Okay, so just bring it down a bit. Okay, good. Save file, save as. Okay, so just come here, refresh. Okay, I think I'm fine with that. So yes, we're done with this. So here you can see that the one-to-many, one-to-many, um, the entities, the attributes, data types, the feed length, the key feeds have been stated in this. Hope that helps you so much. Please do well to like this video, share with your classmates, and subscribe to this YouTube channel for more amazing Cambridge information technology, past people's views, topic discussions, and more. Thank you very much. Bye bye.